Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what's spring.
If you changed it to the Brody Lee title, could you have a heel hold it anytime soon?
Well, we'll put a pin on that and come back to that.
Yeah, listen to this, Vanessa. Watch this. Let me see if I got all this straight. Let me see. Let me do this right here.
Everyone, would you please welcome to the Putting You Over podcast, pro wrestler and Taekwondo black belt, Speedball Mike Bailey.
Well done. Welcome,
Ah.
welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. What an intro. Wow.
Yeah, it was great. That was done
This
by.
feels natural. I haven't had an announcer say my name like that in so long, and it just feels right.
Yeah,
I like it. Thank you for that. Much appreciated.
Hey, don't thank me. Thank I forget what his Twitter handle is, but he's a viewer. He's
Ryan Romano.
Ryan Romano, man.
Ryan Romano.
He likes to do them. He's done a few for us, and I told him a couple days ago. I go, we got Speedball Mike Bailey on. He's like, awesome, I'll do it. So hooked us up. Good job out of him.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time tonight, joining us, giving us
Pleasure's
a
all
few.
mine.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Busy day.
Yeah. What was that?
It's surprising how busy you can be without leaving your house.
Yeah. Right. Don't you feel more busy? I feel more busy. Sometimes when I have nowhere to go and nothing to do.
Right? So like this whole Twitch thing has been absolutely wild. And like the amount of work that goes into it. And by the way, your setup is pretty good. Your stuff looks great. And I'm always amazed of coming on streams and seeing what people have built and made for themselves and how different it can be. But I know when you have something that looks that clean, there was a lot of work that went into that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's been literally a process. I used to do it from my garage. And then I moved here. But it is a process. Over here in front of me is like where I game and stuff. And then, got the bar. Wife sold me on the bar and just kind of evolved into this. But it has been a work in process, and I do appreciate it. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
But yeah, the quarantine, it's just, there does seem like in the Twitch streams, I heard a long time ago, I've been doing the Twitch thing for a while, and somebody told me.
For how long approximately?
I have, what year is this? 2021? Yeah. I've been doing it probably on and off 7 years.
Wow.
And it's evolved. It didn't start as what it is now. So what it is now, technically, is literally just a talk show. It's just streaming. It's just a talk show.
People.
With a focus on wrestling. Like, that's the basis, but it's literally like the Seinfeld. We talk about everything and anything.
Is this stream about nothing?
It's a stream about nothing. And that's what it's evolved to. I used to play video games, all sorts of them, all sorts of different things. But I got old and my reaction time, and I just didn't want to play them anymore. It wasn't as competitive, and it evolved to this. So this is where I am now. But what they told me was, that for every hour you stream online, so every hour you put into your stream on Twitch, you're putting like 2 double hours. You're putting like twice as much work offline.
Sorry, I accidentally just.
No, that's fine. You put anything you want, anything you want behind you. So you're actually doing more work when you're not streaming than when you're streaming. I think I said that correctly.
So that is absolutely true. Yeah. Like, one of the sad things about Twitch is like discoverability is difficult. Yeah. Like, it's hard to find new or smaller creators on Twitch. Yep. So for someone like me who's just starting out and still very, very small on Twitch, but I've over time developed like a decent following elsewhere. Right. Like, I have, I don't know, I think like 14.5 thousand followers on Twitter, which is not enormous, but it's because Twitter is something I've been working on a while, and it goes well with pro wrestling. So I have to focus a lot of time outside of Twitch trying to bring people into the Twitch, and that's making graphics, making videos, spreading it all across the platform, and then and that's a lot of work. This is even more work than the Twitch stream itself.
Yeah, for sure. It's we were literally just talking about this too. I was like, man, I really dislike having to tweet out when I'm going live every time. I don't want to do it. And I said, like, maybe I'll switch it up. Instead of having it done automatically, I'll have it change my display name to just say, like, putting you over's live. Just put a live symbol next to it. And stuff like that. But discoverability, this is what, I mean, we could go down a Twitch rabbit hole all night.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Discoverability on Twitch is non-existent.
Yes,
it's
correct.
just not. The clips feature they have is great, but it's not like I can scroll through clips. It's not like TikTok or
right where you can
YouTube
just swipe and get more of the same if you want. Or it's not like YouTube where they have an algorithm that goes and gives you what you like. Also, there is like, do you know anyone that goes and watches clips on Twitch of random creators the way people just browse through YouTube or Facebook videos for hours?
I don't know a single person that does that. The only
Never
thing
heard of it.
I know clips are good for are to get them of your show, download them, edit them together, and put them out somewhere else.
Yep.
And,
which you're not allowed to do though.
Right.
As per Twitch conditions and contracts, you're not allowed to do that.
Not within 24 hours. Correct.
Right.
Yes. Nobody listens to that.
No.
But you're not supposed to.
Right.
I do it. But yeah, that's been a talk, especially with TikTok blowing up. Short form content is big. YouTube has their new shorts that is now here in the US. Well, you're up in Canada, so I don't know if it's there, but it doesn't matter because you don't even need the feature yet. All you have to do is post a video on YouTube. What's this called? Vertical. Post a video on YouTube, vertical, under 60 seconds, and it falls right into the shorts algorithm and fits right in, even if you don't have it. And the discoverability there is big. And Twitch has to do something, or they're gonna get left behind, sadly.
Yeah.
And I'm loyal. I love Twitch. I've been asked to move a couple times, but I love it. So that's just, I like being live. I don't really.
It's very interesting. There's definitely a whole world behind it that I'm just discovering. And the thing is, this has always been my thought. I'm a pro wrestler.
Right.
That is, like, if you ask me how I make my money, how I earn my income, it's through professional wrestling. I'm a professional wrestler first and foremost, so that needs to be like my main attention. And everything like Twitter, social media serves only as a complement to my pro wrestling, right? It serves to enhance my matches in terms of helping me find work or helping, my audience follow me and all that. And I try to not get too wrapped up into Twitch. Right. And just remember why I'm doing it, because it's been great, but man, there's so much to do there.
Yes, especially for someone like yourself, like a wrestler. It is. You can go down one of two ways. You can use it to complement yourself and what brought you to the table. I watched so many of your matches today, and we're gonna get to them in your wrestling. You can go down that avenue, or you can go down an avenue of trying to, I don't even know how to say it, like just Twitch focused, and it's because it's so much work, like we said.
It's so much work. However, as a very, very wise wrestler told me recently, it's no longer the wrestling business, it's the content creation business. Yeah. The content happens to be wrestling if that's what you're doing. And this applies to major promotions as well as the wrestlers themselves. Your content creators, your content happens to be wrestling, which is like something that I think wrestlers need to be aware of and fully plugged into in order to be as successful as they can.
I like that. So that'll bring me to a question I did have. Your Twitch is great. You do all French streams because you're fluent in that. You do I'm gonna botch this. Duolingo. It's an app. It's an app. You do another language. I want to say German or something, which is great. Japanese. Sorry. Yep. You've been to Germany though.
I have been to Germany. Yes. I've been to Japan a lot more, however.
You have gaming. You watch matches. It's very it's just great in general. But my question is, and we just talked about it with major promotions, is that now going to be a like what's the word I'm looking for? Like when you're looking to go to a promotion, is keeping your Twitch stream gonna be a talking point?
Honestly, maybe. That depends on a lot of things. Again, depends of when and in what capacity. And like, again, it's content creation, and I'm not married to Twitch, but I do think it's important. It's always going to be, and of course, it's always something that I'm going to take into consideration, having my own brand and keeping my own brand and being able to still work through that. And I think right now, major promotions are understanding that a little more, and even though they still want, in many cases, ownership of the characters and everything, they still recognize that the more content the wrestlers put out themselves, then that's still the more eyes they get put onto the promotion themselves. And I'm pointing at things like Sammy Guevara and Ethan Page's vlog, where it's crazy. If you watch Dark on YouTube, a lot of the comments are literally just like Fuego del Sol and him hitting a tornado DDT, and that's what they came for, because they're fans of Sammy's vlog, and then they happen to watch the wrestling that's attached to it. Yeah, and I really think that's where wrestling is going right now.
Yeah, that is. I agree, and I think there needs to a balance. And I mean, content creation. That's the first time I did hear something like that, where it is not the wrestling. It's content creation, and your content is actually wrestling. It just happens to be wrestling. That's great stuff. What do you got there? A blue snowball?
Of course.
Yes, classic. I've had
cheap to buy a Blue Yeti.
Those are good. I've had 2 of them, and I won't get rid of them. I love them. I use them for my work Zooms, for my my shoot job, and they're great. They're great stuff. So can't go wrong.
I think for the price difference, I'm like perfectly satisfied with it. Yep. My thought was I don't want to invest too much money into a Twitch setup until I'm making some, and I'll slowly start like building it, which is the mic is really the only thing I paid for. Like the mic and the mic arm were expensive, and then like the ring light, and I just figured out a setup with lamps, and the green screen is literally
insane, right?
just tacked to my wall. I'm using an old Android phone that I had lying around and didn't use as my camera.
That's good though.
And I you know, I've had to learn and figure it out, but I made it work quite well.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think, I don't know, it's just good stuff over there. And it's the same thing. It's Speedball Bailey on Twitch as well. Awesome. So what I wanted to ask you, I wanted to lead off the show with, but we were just kind of riffing. How realistic is Cobra Kai?
It's the most unrealistic. It's completely absurd.
Yes.
Yeah. Trying to compare it to like a sports movie. I can't even think of a good example that would be like as absurd. But yeah, no, it has nothing to do. It's completely ridiculous. Like the idea of a tournament being all genders, all size and ages confounded, one category of all the teenagers experience level are all gonna fight together, and then one will be the winner. That's insane. That's absurd. That is not how any sport works in the universe. That's how the UFC worked in 1995.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's it. Cage. It's ridiculous. It's insane. And also, like how people get their black belts in movies is always ridiculous. Like there's a system and there's tests and but when you look at martial arts movies, it's you learn like your trainer beats the shit out of you for a month, and all of a sudden you go from white to black belt. That's insane. That's not how it works.
Are you more? Have you? Okay, so you've obviously watched Cobra Kai.
Yes.
So
of it.
It's great. It is great.
Trevor Lawrence is always going to be number one. That was just kind of how.
Geez, Vanessa, do you want us to listen to Pat McAfee?
Sorry.
That's
all right.
My
bad.
That's fine. Cobra Kai. So you've seen the Karate Kid, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming. So are you more Johnny Lawrence or are you more Daniel?
I'm much more Daniel. Yeah. I don't think you could exist in the world of martial arts as a Johnny Lawrence. I don't think there's any longevity there. And like it's no like I think respect and discipline are important. They're important to me. And there's something I get from martial arts, but that like I've carried through, and I think it's one of the most important things for me in life. So I'm definitely not a Johnny Lawrence.
Last off kilter Karate Kid reference question. Was Daniel's crane kick illegal?
Why would it have been illegal? I don't understand. Well, there were no rules. I didn't know there were rules to the tournament. It doesn't seem to be anything at all.
I heard you couldn't kick to the face. I believe the guy with the red referee shirt said that. I don't know.
I don't know. I need to do more research. I need to see the All Valley rule book.
The All Valley rule book. So I spent an entire... Okay, first of all, we've had a lot of Canadian talent on this show. Vanessa lives in Ontario. The pandemic hit. We wanted to showcase... She definitely wanted to showcase some, Canadian talent. We've had a lot on. And your name kept being brought up. And it just kept being brought up. And I mean, I'm all new to this independent game, so all this stuff was new to me. Watched a ton of your matches today. This is what I took away from everything I watched today. You are the ultimate underdog. Like, I compared you to a Daniel Bryan, for example. That's how I related. And in your matches, no matter who you were wrestling, you made me care and you made me believe that you were going to win. Whether you won or not, I believed you could win. And to me, that's rare these days in a talent. So good job out of you. And
well, thank you. That means a lot. I do put a lot of care into putting that in my matches and drawing emotion out of people. That's one of my priorities. So that means a lot.
Yeah, it was. I just kept watching them one after the other. It was Matt Riddle. It was Keith Lee. It was Kyle O'Reilly in WCPW.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a plethora of stuff.
Bobby Lashley.
That's
right. Where did you find that match, by the way, with Bobby Lashley?
That was a picture. I saw a picture.
Okay,
you tweeted the picture out. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that match is not more available online.
Where was that match?
That was at Smash Wrestling in Toronto.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I have a connection. We can get that match.
That'll be good. That'll be fun to watch. As Speedball Mike Bailey does a great job of hydrating with a phenomenal water,
so it's actually all messed up because it's got lemons
screen
in it, but you can't see the lemons, space lemons.
Yeah,
because of the green screen. I don't know. They're yellow. They just kind of come out wrong.
That's okay. But yeah, that's what I took away from all your matches. It was insane. The other thing I took away was, and this was specifically in the Kyle O'Reilly match, you had your attire. I'm not tall enough to show you your attire. You had like these two belts hanging all the way down to the mat.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody ever just grabbed them and yanked you around with them?
So they're stretchy. They're not very solid, so you can't really do anything with them. That particular belt was too long and annoying.
Oh, okay.
But also it's thin and stretchy, so it never really got in the way. It's not like a solid belt that you could grab and pull.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think I could wrestle, period, but I don't know if I could wrestle with that hanging down.
Wrestling attire, like the purchasing and making of them is a nightmare, an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Because it sort of has to be custom gear. You can't like buy it, right? That would not look right. And then wrestling gear is such a particular thing, and then like there's no money to be made if you're a good costume designer. There's no money to be made like specializing in wrestling unless you're going to make them for a particular promotion.
Right.
There's a lot of good gear makers, but they are few and far between, and it's really hard to find someone that makes good costumes that are like affordable and will get back to you within like 9 months and are like durable. Very difficult.
So a lot of your matches that I watched today were obviously over in England, I guess is the right word. Japan, overseas, I guess. And you've probably touched on it so many times. I learned through other guests. We always heard the thing. I can't remember who said it once, Vanessa, but Speedball Bailey's ban is coming up. That's all they would mention. It would get in passing. And to me, I was like, oh shit, man. Someone got banned from the US? Like that must be bad. But what I found out, it wasn't. It was just a ridiculous visa thing, which I have come to learn is from Canadian wrestlers specifically trying to get here to the US to wrestle is a joke. And I'm not really going anywhere with this question, but 5 years, when that happened to you, and then you went and you elevated yourself, it's almost just like you are in the ring. You're resilient, you're the underdog, and you made people believe in Mike Bailey. And that band is now, you're back, whatever. This stupid pandemic.
Exactly. I'm a real Danny LaRusso.
You're real.
Whether you have an injured leg or not, just got to keep trying. Keep pushing.
You are back. Would you, because let me see if I got my research right. You got, I don't like to say the word busted because to me that seems like a negative thing, but you got banned. That happened that day because you were trying to make an Evolve show. And the visa got held up and you didn't want to let the promotion down. So you went anyways. You didn't want to, no show. So you went.
So what you're saying is mostly inaccurate?
Inaccurate or accurate?
If inaccurate,
okay.
If not entirely inaccurate. However, I will, because it's a legal situation and those are always tricky. I will not comment on it.
Okay, good.
Really in any way. But I mean, yes, the result is, and the important part is I was unable to wrestle in the United States for 5 years. And that is where the most money is made in professional wrestling. It is in the United States with the bigger companies, of course. And it had the effect of, I had a goal for my career. I was going in a very specific trajectory. I was picking up a lot of steam at a place that I'm not sure if you're familiar with called PWG.
Yep.
You're right, which was at the time probably the biggest independent promotion where people would go to make their names, and then a lot of people would get signed to NXT off of PWG.
2015, I believe.
Yeah, has happened numerous times. So that is where I was sort of hoping that my career was headed, just keep doing my best and killing it at PWG and then hopefully get picked up by a major promotion. However, that would not be possible. So I would have to figure out something else.
Right.
And that's what I did. But very luckily I had already picked up enough steam to be able to, take my attention elsewhere and start wrestling in Europe and Japan and a bunch of other places. Which is not the case for all Canadian wrestlers who can go to the US. They don't always have the momentum I did and can parlay that into a career in Japan. And I think that's the sad part. That's the part that needs to be addressed and looked at and talked about a little bit more, and how difficult it is to be a Canadian wrestler. And I mean, for the situation, but it's not really just Canada. There's wrestling that happens all over the world that you wouldn't know about because it's not in the mainstream, but there's a lot of very talented performers that do not get eyes upon them because it's not what's hot on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
And through Twitch, that's sort of what I've tried to work on a little bit, right? Through my online presence, I've tried to help a lot of other wrestlers get some online presence. You talked about the stream in French. I do a little bit, and there I know there's a lot. There's a connection between Quebec and France, of course, where we both share the French language, and there's another connection in pro wrestling world that there's that language barrier is reflected online on the internet, and there's a lot of wrestlers that just because they're stuck in France or Quebec don't get seen online, hence not looked at by bigger companies as much as other wrestlers. So I think, again, content creation, part of my goal is to enhance that and help people get more eyes on them.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You seem to be enjoying it too. That's the best part. Your Twitch.
I do. I really do.
PWG. We talked about
Yes.
2015. Phenomenal stuff. I'm trying to think which matches today from PWG.
Thank you. I can't watch it anymore. I don't like it.
Why?
I don't know. So I think it's a good thing, and something I appreciate about myself in life. Like my biggest accomplishment in life is making sure that every year has been happier than the last.
Okay.
And I've definitely made a lot of progress as a pro wrestler, like physically and in how I perform in the ring and everything. And I can't watch that PWG stuff anymore because I just think I am terrible.
Back then.
Back then, compared to how I am now, it's difficult to watch.
So the Kenny Omega match.
Yes.
Can't watch it.
That is a big one. Difficult to watch. For more, I enjoy the nostalgia, and I can understand why people liked it at the time. But it's painful in a way. So that match specifically was very important because wrestled a lot of people at PWG, but Kenny Omega now is one of the best wrestlers in the world, if not the best wrestler in the world, putting out some of the best matches, and his mind completely goes along with that. His level of thinking about pro wrestling and the way his brain works is just something else. And like seeing that at the time was I was wowed by the way his mind works. And I felt like, oh my God, I am missing that. Whatever he has, like that is missing for me as a professional wrestler. And I don't feel complete because I don't have it. And then like several years later, I went to wrestle in Japan for DDT, which is the same place
he went.
Kenny Omega started in Japan with. And I learned so much over there, and just the way they work just opened my eyes to so many things that I now realize was missing. And I have it now. And just thinking about how good the match could be now versus how it happened then just makes me cringe.
Somebody tweeted a clip to Kenny Omega from that match in 2015, and he responded and said I don't remember his exact words. He said so a rematch is due. A rematch with Kenny Omega has to be high on your list of things, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1000%. It is like, it's been since not long after that match. Like there was not that much time. I think that it was beginning 2016 where he and I had a singles match. And then when I went to Japan and like comparing the two, like as soon as I got to DDT, I wanted that rematch.
Yeah. That's awesome though. It's amazing to me how much you learned from that match, and it just being aware of your own, what you needed to do to improve, to be better. Like you said, it was a wow moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great. That's great. And more people, I think, need to come away from things like that.
To be fair, it was one of the many wow moments in my career that I've had, and the many times that like a light bulb went off and I realized that I haven't figured it out. Like there's a lot of other people that I worked with that gave me the same reaction.
Yeah.
But this was really one of the big one and one of the most memorable moments, because again, pro wrestling and just mastering every skill is a journey of thinking you know it, then realizing you don't, then thinking you figured it out, and then realizing you don't. And learning over time that there is never one simple trick or one aspect that you need to master, but it's complex and multifaceted, and you need to be good at everything in order to be truly successful as a professional wrestler.
Learn a skill that triggered something. Learn a skill and bring it to wrestling. You said that in another podcast, I don't remember. I loved it because I think you were talking about teaching. You love to teach wrestling as well. Yes. And I think you said, when you learn a skill, you want to pass it on. You want to pay it forward. And that resonated extremely well with me. I have young children, and I coach, and I teach. I'm also a teacher in the shoot job. And I just thought it was great that you're passing on what you've learned. And I don't think there's enough people in the world that do that today, wrestling, let alone anything really. So you should be commended for that as well.
It's purely selfish.
Yeah.
If I'm being quite honest, like it's a big part of my intentions when I teach pro wrestling is to tell people the things that I wish would have been told to me when I was starting, and would have made it a lot easier. So I try to do that a lot. But like, I get returns on that pretty much immediately. Like, the better the wrestlers are around me, the better the wrestling scene is, then the better the shows are, and then the more tickets get sold, and then the more money I make. But
Right.
also, I find that teaching something, and as a teacher, I'm sure you'll agree with this, is a great way to understand something.
Yes.
You learn so much while teaching something. It's one thing to learn something and apply it, but then to teach someone else how to apply it just really gives you a much deeper understanding of it. And I find that's incredibly true for pro wrestling. I know a lot of great pro wrestlers that couldn't really explain to you why what they do works.
Interesting.
And I think that very often comes to their own detriment, because then it becomes harder to replicate, right?
Yeah.
And in order to be a successful independent wrestler, what you need is consistency. You need to always have a match that stands out. And it becomes a lot easier to be consistent when you have understanding.
It's true. 100% true. Your better half.
Yes.
I'm going to botch her first name because I always want to say Vita, but it's not Vita. It's Veda.
It's Veda, that's right.
Veda Scott.
People who have known her for decades get it wrong, so it's all right.
I think she's underrated as a wrestler. Does she have a great wrestling mind?
She absolutely does. She has, on top of a great wrestling mind, one of the best memories for pro wrestling that I have ever seen. It is absolutely wild, the stuff she can do. I can ask her to like recite to me one of her matches from 3 years ago, and she can tell it to me backwards or forwards. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, she absolutely has a wonderful mind for wrestling. We like our thoughts are very often along the same lines, and that's why being on shows together is always so wonderful. And anytime she's there, my match is going to be better, because she always helps me out with ideas. And when we're both on a card, even if we're not like in the same match, we'll always be working on our matches together, and it just becomes like so much better with that.
Yeah.
Because it's a very intimate thing to have, like, to know someone's process as well as we know each other's. And it takes a lot of time of like figuring out, like, again, it's more than just knowing what we do, but it's understanding why we do it and what we're trying to do together, and helping each other do that.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. So you have that person in your corner
Yes.
to give you that unfiltered review, honest, unfiltered review. It's amazing. Yeah.
Always.
It's good stuff. She's great. She's also got on Twitch. It's just great stuff. You guys are engaged, I believe.
We are. That's right.
When that day finally comes, will it be the greatest wrestling wedding ever?
I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm working on the convincing part. It's so at least we're in agreement on this.
Okay.
And I figured it out today, by the way, as pertains to my own funeral. And we're mostly like we're pretty introverted people.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to have no funeral. Just throw my body out at sea. I don't care. Just make sure it doesn't cost anyone anything.
Okay.
But then I saw DMX's funeral.
Yeah, did you see that? Right.
Wow. And so I'd be okay with that too. If there's going to be like fire and monster trucks and like motorcycles and all that, I'm in. We're good. But I don't want anything in between. So Veda always saw our wedding as very small, intimate ceremony. She'd be okay if no one was there and we're just like get married in Vegas type of thing. Just, you know.
Yeah.
I highly recommend. I've done it. Highly recommend.
Wonderful. Well, I will keep that in mind then. So, small ceremony, like we don't make a big deal out of it. No one's there. I'm perfectly okay with that. Or it is the most epic wedding in history.
Yeah.
And I think I could convince her to do that. Like if we knew we could like rent a whole arena, make it profitable.
Yeah.
Pyro, 100,000 seats filled.
Let's put it on Twitch too while we're at it.
While we're at it, why not?
Yeah.
I think I could convince her to do that, but I'm working on it.
Working on the date? You got to work on the date too with her?
Well, so the date depends on a lot of factors.
Okay.
Including she's an American citizen,
Right.
so whether we get married in the US, in Canada, and the logistics behind that, we still have to figure out what is going to be the most advantageous for us. So there is no date yet.
No date. So challenging. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great wedding. Phenomenal. Two great people, Vanessa.
Best. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend a Vegas wedding. It's easy. Literally, I made one phone call, and in 10 minutes, my whole wedding was planned.
Oh, wow.
Great stuff. Some off kilter questions. When you returned, when you got back to Canada, did you ever use up all of your Tim points? And how did you fare in the roll up the rim season?
So the biggest prize we got, which was pretty nice, but we haven't used it yet, was $20 off of Skull Candy earphones, like a $20 gift card for Skull Candy. And then the rest was just like 5 points, 10 points, maybe like a free donut in there. I'm not even sure if we redeemed that. But we daily walks to Tim Hortons because again, I don't have any reason to go outside right now.
Right.
There's a pandemic, so just walks to Tim Hortons how I get air.
Yeah.
So like over time and free coffees, we've gotten through all the points.
We talked about learning skills earlier, and bringing them to the wrestling. We are in a pandemic. We're all stuck inside. We're all trying new things. Have you discovered a new talent or skill that you were like, wow, I'm going to bring this to the ring?
That I'm going to bring to the ring? No, I don't think so. I've worked a lot on my singing. Like just spending a lot of time just, listening to music and singing, not like practicing or taking singing lessons,
Right.
which I would love to do. However, something I want to do is I want to take singing lessons here on Twitch, but I do want to,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
That'd be funny. I do want to include a lot more singing in my wrestling matches going forward.
Yeah, you should.
Like more song breaks mid-match and singing my own entrance theme and just, I think there's more room for wrestling. Eventually write and perform a full pro wrestling musical. That is part of the long-term plan.
Psycho Mike can get in that.
He'd be great at it.
He'd
Hell
be
yeah.
amazing.
Man's got pipes.
Yeah, he's the best. He can
So,
sing.
like,
His
singing?
conscience can sing.
Everyone's singing. So like Jeff Jarrett singing, or like
If Jen Jarrett wants to come in and sing, he's more than welcome.
no. I mean, like, sorry, for you. Like, are you doing like thinking like Jeff Jarrett singing, or are you thinking along the lines of like Road Dogg kind of style?
I don't know. I'm thinking for full musical, just with some wrestling in it. But I want some. Let's see, what musical do I like the most? I like Newsies. I like the song. I think we could do a wrestling Newsies.
Like coming down the aisle.
Exactly. Yes.
But no, like it
From
itself, 'cause
parts
you start out
unknown.
in like training. You're starting out training, so then you're like working your way through there, and then you work your way up into like the big times. It writes itself, honestly.
Well, so one thing I'm thinking is being conservative in terms of like scenery and budget and everything. So I'm trying to keep it to like one event, one wrestling ring. And the leading idea right now for the script is 1 8-person tournament. Right? And then there's like this whole relationship where like you get one guy and there's his best friend, and then the heel cheats and he kills the guy's best friend, and that's who they're going to go up against. So when the best friend dies, there's a whole song number about like, you killed my best friend, I curse you, I will fight you later. And then the bad guy being like, no, I am whatever. Writes itself.
Does write itself. That's good.
Even though I have absolutely no experience in songwriting whatsoever or any basic knowledge of how to do it, I'm willing to take it on. I think it's a good cause. I think it's worth learning.
I think if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. Someone told me that. I think it was George McFly, Back to the Future, told me that.
Oh.
If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. A musical I'm surprised we haven't seen a wrestling musical yet.
Right?
Yeah. That is shocking to me.
It feels like it reaches a lot of like wrestling adjacent audiences. Yeah. I feel like there's like the musical theater fans don't need a big shove. They just need a slight nudge to become pro wrestling fans.
I agree. You get RJ City, get Effie involved.
Exactly.
It does write itself. Final question for me, a little off kilter.
Yep.
I was listening to Love Wrestling today with Spencer Love. You guys talked about a match. Will we see the return of you wrestling as Shrek?
Maybe, honestly, it's I have no idea. I had no idea it was even gonna happen. It started that I just made a one of the many dumb and meaningless tweets that I will make that just said, if this tweet gets 1,000 likes, I'll wrestle in full Shrek cosplay. And within like a couple hours, it had 2,000 likes, and so I just had to do it. I don't know. Like, I might have a sub goal or something, or if someone offers to compensate me for it in any way, shape, or form, I'll happily do it. I don't care. I'll cosplay as your favorite cartoon character, whomever you want, as long as you make it worth it. I don't.
That made me think of one other question. Another show that you were on, somebody asked you, if they gave you for $2 billion, I think it was billion, for $2 billion, would you start a porn company? But my question for you, because you mentioned in today's day and age, likes and subs, that's today's currency in content creation. So
yes.
I ask you, would you create that porn company for 2 billion likes?
See, likes are worth a lot less than, for example,
Subs.
for example, 2 billion real Twitter followers.
Yes, that's a lot.
That aren't bots.
That's a lot.
Right? Or like even so again, like it's currency, but it's not like a like is worth more than $1. A like would be a penny. Then a retweet would be 10 cents. So would I start a porn company for 2 billion pennies? That's still a lot of money.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
To be honest, but yeah, $2 billion is a lot of money. A lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
I'm just starting the porn company here. Do I have to do any work? Do I really have to do anything?
Yeah, that's what he said. The guy asked you. He said, "You don't gotta do anything. You just gotta start the company."
My answer to that is $2 billion is a lot of money.
Jeez, I might do it for. Well, I better not say what I would do it for. But we're at the end of the show. Oh no! Wait, one more question. Speedball. Yep. Where's the origin of that name? That moniker?
A Montreal wrestling writer who has now passed away.
Okay. Described
my wrestling style in one of my first matches, and I think my first match with the IWS, as bouncing around the ring like a speedball. So promoter thought that sounds good. Speedball Mike Bailey. I was like, I'm in. And I like it because it's not so on the nose.
Right.
You know, like I hate nicknames that are like the Crusher, the Destroyer, Bulldog. Like it's obvious. Speedball makes you think for a second.
Yeah, for sure. What I like to do at the end of every show, Mike, is I'm going to give you the microphone now. You can put over anything you want. Let us know. We put the links in the chat. Let us know where you are, what to find you. You can bury someone if you want. You can sing a musical song. I don't really care what you do. The floor is yours.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what's... I'm at Speedball Bailey on Twitter and Instagram, twitch.tv/SpeedballBailey. You can find me on there. I'll be on Twitch tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. with Veda Scott as we drink our coffee. Then I'll be back Saturday at noon with Tabarnak the Team, who is one of the greatest tag teams in Canada. And we'll be hanging out.
Yeah.
Right? That'll be fun. But the biggest thing you can do for me is go on YouTube, search Speedball Mike Bailey, find some Speedball Mike Bailey matches, watch them, and if you like them, share them. Tell your friends you like them. Tell your friends you're now a fan of Speedball Mike Bailey. Because I don't advertise anywhere. This stream doesn't advertise anywhere. That you take out ad space. The only way it works and the only way I can continue to be a content creator and professional wrestler, which as we've established are the same thing.
Yeah.
And the only way you can as well is because people talk about it and share it with their friends.
Awesome. Great stuff. Yeah. Go to YouTube, type in Speedball Mike Bailey, then go to click playlists, then click view count and just watch them all. Then tell your friends.
Hell yeah.
For sure. We're going to see you somewhere soon. You're a great person, a great human. Thank you for giving us your time tonight. And we'll see you on the Twitch.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a great night.
You too.
Peace. Awesome.